Please subscribe Car News. The 2021 Volkswagen Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport are 3 and 2-line moderate-size hybrids, separately, that utilization enormous space and incentive to engage wide American customers. They're agreeable for up to 8, or 5 in the Cross Sport, travelers and offer a more extended guarantee than most contenders and a natural VW stifled style. We give it a 5.6 out of 10 TCC rating slanted toward the 3-column Atlas. Whenever appraised independently, the Atlas Cross Sport would almost certainly score the equivalent. It looks better, yet swears off the third line. The 2021 Atlas is accessible in S, SC, and Cell trim levels with Tech, Premium, and R-Line appearance bundles dissipated all through. The base Atlas S costs $32,565 for front-wheel drive and a Turbo 4. The Atlas Cross Sport costs $1,000, not exactly correspondingly cut Atlas hybrids. All-wheel drive is accessible at each trim level for $1,900. A V6 motor overhaul is accessible as well, and it costs $1,400 more than equivalently prepared Turbo 4 forms. The Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport share numerous similitudes, including a similar style starting from the windows. It's plainer and straighter than numerous contenders, which is fine. Inside, that clear demeanor doesn't fill in also, it very well may be somewhat exhausting. In the engine is a 2.0-liter Turbo 4 that makes 235 pull or a 276 drive 3.6-liter V6. The two motors drive a 8-speed program transmission and send capacity to the front or each of the 4 wheels. The motors act correspondingly as a rule, however the V6 is increasingly mainstream and a superior fit for the all-wheel drive framework and snow state customers. The Atlas is skilled with a delicate ride and calm inside, which can situate up to 8. No Atlas is confined, yet the 2-line Atlas Cross Sport is almost palatial. Backseat riders get in excess of 40 crawls of extra space to move around, which is more than full-size SUVs and some extravagance vehicles. The load territories of the two hybrids dare us for additional beds of blossoms at the home improvement store. VW hasn't itemized all the norm and accessible hardware in the 2021 Atlas, yet all hybrids will get programmed crisis slowing down and vulnerable side screens. Base Atlas S and Atlas Cross Sport S models will manage with a 6.5-inch touchscreen. The remainder of the lineup improves 8.0-inch touchscreen. VW covers the Atlas with a 4-year/50,000 packed-in guarantee that is superior to numerous contenders. The two Atlas models, Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport, are kin in pretty much every way this year. The 3-column Atlas got a slight lighten and buff to its guards to carry it closer to the Atlas Cross Sport's looks. The general look is fine and a little harder this time around, which we wouldn't fret. The inside is still entirely boring and just gets all the more intriguing in certain trims, in spite of the fact that we're as yet not sold. Beginning from a normal score of 5, we'll ring the ringer once on the inside and land at a 4 for style. The grille on the Atlas is more in accordance with the Cross Sport this year. The guard plunges lower and the chrome has a couple of more bends. Along the body sides, the Atlas looks for the most part like the crate it was transported in, only a couple of wrinkles in the entryways and bumpers shield it from looking section-sided. Over the back, huge raised lettering traverses the rear end that is genuinely perfect and unadorned. Inside, the Atlas is direct and even less goal-oriented. The wide, even scramble doesn't conceal how gigantic the vehicle is. In base trims it tends to be an extremely obvious spot to sit. In top trims of the Atlas Cross Sport, that inside gets flashes of shading by means of calfskin upholstery, however it's not premium feeling. The Atlas Cross Sport is a carbon copy for the Atlas starting from the windows. The roofline and windows are new and look great. Whenever evaluated independently, the Atlas Cross Sport may improve here. Execution isn't the primary goal of the 2021 Atlas. Its 3.6-liter V6 or 2.0-liter Turbo 4 sufficiently power the human mover up to throughway speeds, however different hybrids improve. Our rating of 5 here mirrors our vibe for the Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport. It's okay. The most mainstream powertrain for the Atlas will be a 3.6-liter V6 that makes 276 horsepower and drives every one of the 4 wheels by means of a 8-speed program transmission. Front-wheel drive is standard on all Atlases, and all-wheel drive is $1,900 more and is basic on most hybrids. The V6 is smooth and fit, and when appropriately prepared, ready to tow as much as 5,000 pounds. The Atlas controls easily however precisely, and its turning range is littler than outward appearances would recommend. Each hybrid gets a 4-wheel autonomous suspension that covers knocks well, yet the Atlas can incline toward corners when driving rapidly. A base 2.0-liter turbo 4 is accessible and makes 235 horsepower. Like the V6, it's combined with an 8-speed programmed and front or all-wheel drive. The turbo 4 acts indistinguishably from the V6 yet returns marginally better mileage. Just in the upper fire-up ranges does it buzz, pulling beyond what 2 tons of hybrid can do that to anybody. We'd be fine living with the turbo 4 if all-wheel drive was certainly not an absolute necessity and on the off chance that we lived in a moderately level zone. Contrasted with the turbo 4, the V6 expenses $1,400 more. The Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport are controlled by indistinguishable powertrains and drive likewise. The 2021 VW Atlas is 2 vehicles, a 3-column Atlas and 2-line Atlas Cross Sport. The Atlas is the family basics hybrid, 3 lines, loads of seats. The Atlas Cross Sport is a 2-line hybrid that is connected and similarly as large, yet progressively agreeable for 5. For the most part, both are entirely agreeable hybrids with a lot of room for grown-ups and load. The Atlas is the better merchant, so we rate it here. It gets a 9 out of 10 for comfort because of its extensive seats, load territory, and human pulling ability. Whenever appraised independently, the Cross Sport would rate gradually bring down in light of the fact that it does not have a 3rd column. By the numbers, the Atlas rides on a wheelbase that estimates 117.3 inches and it estimates 198.3 inches long. It's as large as some more seasoned pickups, and could be too huge for some more established carports. The Cross Sport is around 5 inches shorter, that's quite large for a hybrid, and the Atlas doesn't do a lot to shroud that. The main line is extensive and alright with seats that give satisfactory supporting in each trim level. Contrasted with others in its group, the seats aren't cushion delicate, however they are throughout the day agreeable. The second line in the Atlas slides fore and behind to suit access to the third line, yet the significant measurement for Guardians is that up to 3 youngster seats can remain set up in the subsequent line, even with the seats pushed forward. In the Atlas, second column riders get 37.6 crawls of extra space to move around. Mapbook Cross Sports offer more than 40, the subsequent column is agreeable and wide enough for 3 grown-ups over, and the seats are sensibly agreeable. Chief seats are accessible in the second line in the Atlas, and are similarly as agreeable. The third line in the Atlas fits normal-size grown-ups, if they're flexible enough to score 'em back there. 3 youngsters won't have an issue fitting in the third line, 3 grown-ups better all be companions. With the third column set up, the Atlas holds 20.6 cubic feet of freight, which is sufficient for a market run or soccer practice objectives and balls. With the third column collapsed, that space extends to 55.5 cubic feet, which is a yearning end of the week at a home improvement shop. The Atlas Cross Sport holds 40.3 cubic feet behind its subsequent line, which is huge for a 2-column hybrid. Crash test information for the 2021 Atlas isn't yet accessible, so we can't dole out a score here. We'll refresh this space once official information comes in. Shy of folded Atlases in authentic labs, there are purposes behind confidence. The Atlas earned a 5-star in general score by government analyzers in earlier years and top great scores in the entirety of its accident tests by the FS. The FS additionally evaluated the programmed crisis stopping mechanism as unrivaled at maintaining a strategic distance from forward accidents with different vehicles, yet the office didn't rate its adequacy at dodging crashes with walkers. Each Atlas gets standard programmed crisis slowing down and vulnerable side screens. Versatile voyage control, dynamic path control, and an Encompass C-camera framework are accessible, just like VW's congested road associate, which can guide, brake, and quicken the Atlas at speeds more slow than 35 miles per hour with restricted driver cooperation. It's a long way from a without hands framework, however it is helpful in long roads turn parking lots. Our involvement in VW's framework to a great extent follows a similar framework with a similar name in Audi models. It's moderately consistent and solid, in spite of the fact that it's occasionally difficult to tell when it's on in light of the fact that solitary a little green symbol will enlighten in the scramble. VW hasn't yet enlightened us into all the alternatives and bundles for the 2021 Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport, however the nuts and bolts will remain the equivalent from a year ago. The 2021 Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport will be accessible in S, SE, cell trim with a bunch of tech, premium, and R-line bundles including different common luxuries and beautiful accents dispersed all through. The base Atlas costs $32,565 in the base design and can reach up toward about $50,000 completely stacked. The Atlas Cross Sport is to a great extent indistinguishable, aside from a couple of little contrasts, and expenses about $1,000, not exactly an equivalently prepared Atlas. It's a 7 for highlights because of good gear in each adaptation including the base Atlas S, and it gets another point for a 4-year/50,000 mile guarantee that is as yet liberal among contenders. The base Atlas S gets a 6.5-inch touchscreen for infotainment, dynamic security highlights, secured above, material upholstery, 18-inch wheels, and 3 lines of seats, 2 in the Atlas Cross Sport. The top sell goes further with a 8.0-inch touchscreen, D.